Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Tim and my job takes me all over this country, so while I'm on the road, I show you things on the road. We do maintenance tips, we do repairs, and today we're talking about dash cams. So stay tuned. Now some of you longtime subscribers might be saying, hey, why are we talking about dash cams again? You already did a video and said this is the best dash cam you've ever had. Well, that's true, but I may have found an upgrade. So we're gonna install it and then we'll see how it works. And then I might do a review video later, but right now we're just gonna do the install. If you like this kind of content, then click down there and subscribe to the channel. Got new stuff coming out all the time. Today we're talking about the Wolfbox G850. This is a 4K mirror dash cam. Now, a mirror dash cam, what that means is it's a replacement, or not really a replacement, for your rear view mirror. It goes over your rear view mirror. You don't have to take your rear view mirror off. It just goes over it. But it's 2-channel. So it has a front-facing camera and a rear-facing camera, and it records both at the same time, no matter what you're looking at on this view screen. Now, in my use, I just leave it on rear, and I use it as a rear view camera. We'll see what the view angle is on this one, but on my other one, in my other truck, it's a much wider and taller view of what's behind you than your regular rear view mirror is. So I like it a lot better. So I'm gonna go with another mirror dash cam. This one is just a little bit different. It's upgraded. The other one was 2.5K. This one's 4K front and 2.5K rear. So we'll see how this one stacks up to the other one. The other one was 2.5K front and 1080p to the rear. So this is a little bit higher resolution, and it's got some added features. I also opted to get the install kit. They call it the hardwire kit for parking and monitoring mode. So meaning that when it's parked and the truck is off, it still records. So if you get hit and the vehicle feels a shock, it will record and save that video. So if somebody runs into you, you have some proof. I like the hardwire kit because I can wire it direct into the fuse box down there, and then it runs all the time. Doesn't matter if the truck's on or off. I mean, yes, you still get the parking mode. I'm not too concerned about the parking mode. What I like is when I'm sleeping in the back, I can glance up to the camera and look at the camera and see what's going on in the bed of my truck, or with the trailer that I'm pulling, or just whatever's behind me, because I can see that all night. So I don't have to get up, pull my blinds down and look. You know, these blinds here, you don't have to get up in here and pull this down and peek out. You can just look at the camera and see. And it has a really wide angle, so you can see a lot back there. So I'm gonna be wiring this in. Now, the links for these will be down in the description. So if you want to get one like this and the hardwire kit, then you can do that. It's universal. So you get this and you get this. You don't have, it doesn't matter if it's a Ford or a Chevy or a Dodge or a Honda, it doesn't matter. You can put this in any vehicle. The hardwire kit comes with a whole bunch of connectors that will go into all kinds of different fuse panels. So I'll be running the wire down to that fuse panel on the passenger side and wiring it directly. So let's see what we get in the box. It's packaged real nice. It's got the standard, I guess, well, I wouldn't say standard, but the newfangled magnetic closure on the box, so you don't have to tear it open. Let's see. So there's the actual camera. Open this up, take a peek at it. Okay, so that is the rear view camera. It has a camera right here, and well, that's a downside already. The other camera that I have, this camera, is adjustable out, so you can slide it out to get this centered on your mirror. So I'm gonna have to see how that's gonna end up looking. That might be a problem. The other camera I didn't know moved, and then I pushed on it and it went and popped out. This one doesn't do that. So we'll have to see how we get it up there. But it's gonna be not fully covering the rearview mirror. And I don't think I like that. Hopefully the quality makes up for that shortcoming. Let me show you. So this is what I'm talking about. When you put this up here and slide it all the way over, it's not fully covering up that mirror. You can still move the angle around, but it's just my OCD. It probably won't matter, but it matters to me right this second. So let's see what else is in here. Packing. All right. So we have the GPS module. This plugs into the top of it, and then you run it along, and you stick it up in the corner of your glass up here. It's got a self-adhesive pad on it, and then it gives you GPS data, like how fast you're going, if you want to add that. Now, I'm sure this is the same as the other ones. You don't have to put this in if you don't want. If you just don't want to have a little box stuck up here, then you don't have to actually run this cable. You can leave it unplugged and it won't matter. Then we have a cigarette lighter plug, which I won't be using. Oh, that's nice. It does have an expansion plug. So if you plug it into your cigarette lighter, it does have a USB port on the outside, so you can still plug something into it. I might find a use for that, but probably not, because the external power source here is only going to be 5 volts, and that can't power a whole lot. So that'll just go in the parts bin. Then we have the rear view camera, and it's got a long cable. I'll be running that up through the headliner and all the way back and mounting it on the back window back there. But that is the rear camera inside that package there. What else does it come with? Comes with an additional bracket so you can do different mountings for the camera. Okay, that's cool. Comes with the trim tool, so if you need to pop any trim to run any wires, it comes with one of those. And then it comes with the little stretchy things, and this is what holds it to your mirror. It stretches over the mirror and hooks to these hooks on the camera. And they're adjustable for whatever size you want. Can't get it on there. So then you hook it to that hook, and then it stretches around your mirror and hooks to the backside. Let's see what else is in here. We have some little wire ties. They are self-adhesive, and they're little clips, so you can run the wires and clip them in these clips if you want to. And then it comes with a little cleaning chamois thing for wiping the fingerprints off the dash cam. And then, of course, it has a whole bunch of instructions that we're not going to read. All right, so that's all that's in the box. I guess it's time to get installing. So the first thing I'm going to do is get it mounted, and then we'll figure out what's going on from there. Hold on one second. Oh, it came with 64 gig memory chip, so that's kind of cool. Typically I like to run a little bit higher as far as the size, but to get it started, 64 will be fine. So I'm gonna get it around here. Clip it on. Then we'll get this one. Clip it on. That's it for install. You just put the 2 rubber bands around it and everything's fine there. You can still move your mirror around, And when it's off, it actually can function as a rearview mirror. You can still see it. It's like the reflection you can still see, but I'll never do that because I travel with my back window blacked out anyway, so I can't see out my back window. So this gives me great visibility outside and having that back window blacked out. So the hardwire kit comes with the adapter harness with a USB-C plug with a 90-degree angle on it, so that's nice. There's 3 wires to hook up. You've got a positive all the time, a ground, and an accessory wire. And then it comes with all of these different connectors depending on your vehicle. It comes with the a tap for the larger fuses, 2 of them, one for the accessory, one for the power. It comes with the next size down fuse, and you've got a few of those, or 2 of those. Then you've got this weird style here, same size fuse, but the insert is a little bit different. Not sure what that's for, but not my truck. What I have to use is now Ford's got these things, and I mean, these fuses are tiny. They are super duper small. I don't know, on the camera it looks kind of big, but they are really, really small. But you push this into the fuse. First you take the fuse out from the fuse box that you want to use, and you stick it in those other little slots right there. Then you stick this in. One of the fuses controls the regular circuit like it normally did, and then this fuse protects the camera. So it's a separate fuse on that wire there. So, and it came with another trim tool. Not the greatest, but it's a trim tool. And then these wonderful instructions that if you're old like me, you can't read. You gotta get them up here to the camera and zoom in so you can read the things. It's the tiniest writing ever. So first we're gonna find a constant power. So get yourself a test light, get a good ground, verify your ground. There's metal right here, and I verified with the battery that that's actually a good ground. A lot of people will go out here to this bolt right here. That's not a good ground always. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. So you have to be careful on what you're clipping onto. Just make sure you got a good ground and verify it. Otherwise you can be poking at stuff for a long time and never find power because your ground isn't a ground. All right, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna test the test port, and the test port are the little metal prongs on the fuse. And when you find one that has power, your light will light up. See? That one's power. So that's full-time power. So find a few of them and then go and figure out what those fuses are. Don't tap into something like your PCM or your analog brakes. Make sure you tap into a non-critical system. So find a few of these that will pass muster. See if I can get it in there. Camera's in the way. All right, that's another one. So go through and mark which ones, or take a picture of it, or however you're gonna do it, and figure out a few of these that are constant power. And then go back and figure out what they are. Now we have to figure out which ones are accessory. So another thing you're gonna have to do is figure out which ones are not on right now, then turn the key on, and then go test them again. And the ones that light up when the key's on are your accessory power. So now you'll have to decide how you want to wire yours. I am not concerned about parking monitor, so I took both of the power leads and soldered and heat shrunk it into one of these connectors. I want my camera to run non-stop, whether the truck's off, whether the truck's on, whether the truck shuts off all the accessory power. I want my camera to be on all the time. So I put them both into one, and then I'll plug this into a fuse that has power no matter what happens. But that's going to depend on what you want. If you want the parking monitor and you don't want your camera on all the time, then just wire it the regular way. Now the next step is going to be different on everybody else's vehicles. So what I'm doing may not apply to you or the way that you're wiring it, but I'll show you the gist of how I'm running this wire. I've got it plugged in here, and I'm gonna run it up. I gotta get it back a little bit further. I'm gonna run it around, and I'm running it underneath this plastic piece. I've already popped the clips on the edges to give me a little bit of extra room, so I can stuff that cord. And if you need to use a little trim tool, you can use the trim tool to help shove it in there. And I'm gonna run it around to this side, and then I'm gonna run it into the headliner, underneath the headliner, all the way over to here, and then run it down to the fuse panel down there. So now I've run it all the way across here, and I got to this point. Then you take your trim tool, get in here and pry this up a little bit, stick it inside, down in there. Then you get it over to this corner here, and then we're gonna go inside this weather stripping, just inside there. So get it back in there. I don't know if I can do this with one hand. There we go. Just like that. Put it inside that trim, and it's completely hidden. It just fits back into a little hole that's in there. And you can run that wire all the way down here. And then once you get down here, it'll be back in here, and you can go up into where the fuse panel is. Now I'm gonna move on to mounting the rear camera. You're on your own for this. There's a couple of different brackets depending on how you want to mount it, and you're just gonna have to figure out how you want to do it. I'm going to be mounting it on the inside of the glass, shining through the glass. Some people put it on the outside. I just put it on the inside because it makes it look cleaner and it's easier to do. You don't have to get in there and deal with the third brake light and then trying to make sure that it doesn't leak and stuff like that. So I'm just going to use the bracket, and I'm going to use the double-sided sticky tape they give you and stick a little bracket on the top, and then I'm going to stick it right to the glass, and then I'll run my wires. So once you get the camera mounted where you want it, you'll adjust the up and down later when you're actually looking at it on the screen. But now we got to hide all this wire. It does come with, and they all come with this red wire that's on the harness, and it's to wire into your reverse lights so that the camera automatically comes on in reverse mode if you want that option. I don't, so I just go to this edge right here and I just cut that red wire off. It's just a input signal. There's nothing coming out, so you don't have to tape it or heat shrink it or anything like that. You just cut it off flush, and then there's less to hide. You just have to hide this shielded or sheathed wire up in the headliner. So we'll get to that next. So now I ran the wire up in there, and then all around here, up inside the headliner. Once I get to here, then I tuck it down into this plastic piece, and just use your trim tool to shove it down in there. There's enough space in there that it ain't gonna hurt anything, and it doesn't make it pop out or anything. I popped that clip, I just pushed it back in. Then you get to here, you make the turn, you go inside this weather strip. There's a little air gap back there, and you run it all the way across over to here. Then you make the turn, you go behind this plastic piece right inside there, and then you get to here, and you just keep going all the way around until you get back to your camera. And there it is. Then you can move this up and down. So, I mean, I still got to do some adjustments on there, but wires are all hidden. And the wire that comes from the rear camera is like long enough for a school bus. So what do you do with all that extra wire? In this A-pillar, there is a giant air gap in here. And that's true on most vehicles. So if you use your pry tool and pull back on this, you can just start feeding the wire down in there and it'll just go down in that air gap. There's already some other wires that are in there, like speaker wires and stuff like that, but there's a big giant air gap in there. So you just feed it all back down in there, and then you come and make the turn here, come across inside your headliner. You just you can just pull the front of the headliner down just a smidge, just enough to get your fingers under there, and then run the wire across. Then I went into here, and the Ford piece, there's a little notch back here, so I just went inside of there, went across, came out that little notch where there's already wires coming out, and then plugged it in right there. And really, you're done. The only other thing would be the GPS module, if you want to do that. The benefit to that is with the dash camera, you can prove how fast you are going. So let's say you got pulled over by a police officer and you know you weren't speeding. You have dash camera footage that shows what your speed was right on the video. Or if there was an accident and someone said that you were speeding, you can prove that that you weren't, because you have the footage with the speed on it. Now, all the weird lines that you're seeing, that's a combination of this camera trying to film it and my LED garage lights. The LED garage lights on this, because it doesn't have a really fast frame rate, you can see the flicker. But when you open up the back garage door, then you don't see that. So wiring the GPS module was pretty easy and fast. The wires are way shorter, so you don't have to hide as much. They hide pretty easy right up in here. I just ran the wire across inside, ran the extra about out to here, and then ran it back and then plugged it in. So that's installing the Wolfbox Mirror 4K dash cam. I hope it gave you some tips and tricks on how to get one of these things wired in. Most of the processes will apply to any of the mirror dash cams, or really, I guess, any dash cam that has a rear camera also. This particular dash cam doesn't have the camera that faces the driver. I didn't care about that. I didn't need that. So I just went with the front and the rear. It'd be nice to have like a 4-channel so I could put a camera on the outside of each of the doors, but I just have to wait until somebody hacks the system so you can actually use the factory cameras for recording. There's got to be a way to do it. I'm going to be looking into that, because there's a whole bunch of cameras on this thing, and it'd be awesome to be able to record those and add them to my videos. I hope you got some good tips out of this video about installing dash cams. There'll be another video that'll be coming out that'll be talking about the features and what I like and what I don't like about it, with a full review of the actual camera. It went in the same as any other one. It was pretty easy install. So with that, I'm gonna let you go. Thanks for watching. Now get out there and find your own path.